Assuming the Trump administration is going to walk away from the Iran deal, the real question I have for them is, what do they plan to do the day after? Former Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs Wendy Sherman, who led the U.S. negotiating team that concluded the Iran nuclear agreement, said in an interview with NewsPulse News. Even if European allies try to maintain the deal along with Russia and China, she noted, it will leave the United States on the outside and alone. And if President Trump reimposes sanctions, and Europe cannot keep the deal going in some way, the Iranians will likely kick out the international inspectors and reject the deal's extraordinary verification regime, leaving the United States and its allies with no eyes on what the Iranians are actually doing on the nuclear front. From the beginning, the Iran nuclear deal faced intense criticism from congressional Republicans, who resented that the Obama administration did not submit it as a treaty for the Senate's advice and consent. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was another vociferous critic, and he took the extraordinary step of deriding the deal before a joint session of the U.S. Congress in 2015. More recently, Netanyahu visited the Trump White House early last month, shortly before Tillerson was fired. Specifically, critics objected to the Iran deal's sunset clauses that begin relaxing some limitations on Iranian uranium enrichment after 10 years. They also derided what was historically an unusually strict verification regime for not including no-warning inspections of military sites. Instead, the agreement gives Iran 24 days to respond to an Atomic Energy Agency request to inspect a military site. Most of all, critics objected to the fact that the agreement did nothing to constrain Iran's other destabilizing behavior, including its continued development of ballistic missiles and support for terrorist proxies throughout the Middle East. Corey Sheikh is the Deputy Director General of the International Institute for Strategic Studies in London, and a former member of George W. Bush's National Security Council staff. The Trump administration walking away from the Iran deal has the potential to open a big rift in transatlantic relations, because our European allies feel that they made a good faith effort to address American concerns, and it didn't seem to matter, she said in an interview. Even if Trump exits the agreement, she noted, the Europeans are likely to work with the Iranians, Russians, and Chinese to try to preserve it. And their perception will be that it is not just Iran, but increasingly the United States that is destabilizing the international order, and needs to be contained. Under the agreement, Iran agreed to eliminate its stockpile of medium-enriched uranium, cut its stockpile of low-enriched uranium by 98% and reduce by about two-thirds the number of its gas centrifuges for 13 years. For the next 15 years, Iran will enrich uranium only up to %. Iran also agreed not to build any new heavy water facilities for the same period. Uranium enrichment activities will be limited to a single facility using first-generation centrifuges for 10 years. Other facilities will be converted to avoid proliferation risks. To monitor and verify Iran's compliance with the agreement, the International Atomic Energy Agency will have regular access to all Iranian nuclear facilities. The agreement provides that in return for verifiably abiding by its commitments, Iran will receive relief from U.S., European Union, and United Nations Security Council nuclear-related economic sanctions. James Kitfield is Senior Fellow at the Center for the Study of the Presidency and Congress.